Okay, so let's continue. Now in this video, we're going to go ahead and begin to block out the face and establish some eyes on here. Nothing too complicated to start with, but we're going to show you a little bit of an old school trick to establish things like eyelids and maybe go over some matte material assigning for a first time beginner. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first things we'll go ahead and do is we're going to append some extra spheres into here. So first, let's go ahead and hit Subtool, Append, and let's see if we can find ourselves a sphere, like a sphere 3D. And if we go down here to that sphere, it's probably underneath this sphere. Let's hit the W key and move it forward. And we're going to talk to you about adding some materials on here for the first time, just to kind of give you a heads up of how it works. So let's start with that. Before anything, if you want to change the material and the color of something, first click off Z Add and click on mRGB. And then we can kind of go through here, and I'm going to choose between skin shader. I'll choose toy plastic. Now you'll see the whole thing change, and that's expected because we didn't assign anything on here, so this thing goes universally. So let's assign this toy plastic onto this sphere that we see, and to do that we just go through color and just merely hit fill object. Now when we switch it back to basic material, it will stay the same. Let's go ahead and go back into toy plastic now, just one more time, because we want to show something else. If you want to change the color, you can do so right here. Obviously it changes for here, but it didn't change for here because it also took the color value of white and also assigned it on there, because this is material as well as the color channels, RGB, red, green, blue. So now let's go ahead and reassign it again, since it's now set to black, and this will now be set to black. Let's bring it to white again and bring it to basic material. So now let's go ahead and just simply give it a couple of divides. Make that nice and smooth. Now we got something like an eye, a cute little eye. Let's go ahead and bring this guy in here like so. And this is up to you how you want to form this. There's no way. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of experimenting. I'm going to just kind of hit into the BMV, brush, move, V, and just kind of go into symmetry mode and just kind of flatten things out for me. Give myself a little bit of a canvas. Then left alt and turn off symmetry. I'm just going to kind of tuck that guy in there like so. Now we can decide the shape, and honestly, the shape is up to you, or I'm sorry, the size is up to you. I'm kind of leaning towards some nice big eyes, like so. Now, we can do one of two things. We can duplicate the mesh and mirror it over, or we can just duplicate the subtool and mirror it over. Either way. So I'm just going to duplicate the subtool. Since we're going to be mirroring over through deformation, one of the first things you have to do is realize you got to delete subdivisions to do this function. So let's go into geometry and hit delete. Don't worry, we can reconstruct the subdivisions again because we are not going through and changing or remeshing anything. Let's get back into deformation and let's hit mirror. And don't forget to center the pivot point on this guy. Now, we can do one of two things. We see this like so. Let's go ahead and see if we can combine these two subtools. Now we go through the top one, and let's go to merge, merge down. Now that it's merged down, if we make sure our local symmetry is on, we hit the X key. We can kind of decide the placement of our character, like so. So, this is just, you experimenting. And I kind of like the look of that. So now let's go ahead and go back into our face, which I hit left alt, left option, click, and just kind of give ourselves a little bit more real estate room on here. Maybe we want to do something like that, just something easy. Now here's something that we can do. This is a little bit of an old school trick. First things first, I'm going to give a couple of subdivisions so we can smooth this out. And I'm going to go up to brush, and this is an old school trick to use to create eyebrows with. And that is working with the Z Project brush. Now, Z Project brush is kind of something that we haven't really talked too much about. And to put simply, it's a brush that's kind of used to project onto its shape in front of whatever is in another subtool. So it's kind of down here. So let's go ahead and click it. And if you want to get an idea how it works, we can kind of show you right here. But first, let's go ahead and do transparency. You might need to go through and bring the mesh up higher. I don't know if it doesn't really work if you turn the intensity up, but in order for it to project its shape on here, you need to have a little bit more of a higher, closer proximity to the mesh. So let's go through Move Brush and just kind of bring this up. Like so. That way Project has kind of something to work with. And let's just go ahead and switch into Z Project again, which is now probably up here. You can kind of see it's a little bit of a tricky brush to work with on here. If we kind of turn the eyes on. Let's see if we can bring that up here again. Kind of does the trick a little bit with here. If we turned it off, it kind of does the trick right there. So it looks like I'm going to have to bring a little bit more of this on here. One thing I can do is just kind of go through and hit the move. Oops, like so. Bring the eyes open, and that probably is a little bit more of a closer proximity. Let's go ahead now and do the Z Project. And it kind of likes to do that, but unfortunately it also kind of likes to so. And so we kind of get ourselves what we need on here. And now what we do is go in, whoops, I hit the V key there. We go through the Move Brush and just kind of move this forward now. Like so. And we get this nice clean projection. Now if there's anything that's off in any way, you just smooth it out. We don't have too terribly much. If you want, you can go down subdivisions, hit Shift D and smooth it out. place that it might seem. Hit D again, smooth it out. And D once more, smooth it out. So it's kind of perfectly overlapping everything. And if you need to do another, if you need to just kind of go through and redo anything, go on ahead. I'm a little bit okay with what I got as far as the depth goes. And the eyes. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go through and sculpt the eye openings of this. And this is where, you know, you can get the shape that you want out of this. So remember, when we're doing something like Z project, keep in mind that you're going to need to make the proximity of the mesh pretty close over this to make it round. You're also going to need to use the move brush to kind of bring things a little bit forward. And then once we're done, we're going to sculpt things a little bit back into the shape we want. So in this case, let's go ahead and just give you an example of this and what we can bring to it. Like if you want to do brush clay tubes or brush standard, you can do that. Don't forget to turn right now the L key off, but you can kind of begin to sculpt in your eye, like so. Oops. Turn that guy's visibility off. Now from here, just kind of getting everything situated, we can also use the move brush and the left alt to push in and out as well. That is something you can use additionally. We can also sort of craft in, for example, the pinches of the eye. We can smooth and push in, push out the eye. It's something I kind of like a little bit more, but it's also something that requires a little bit more finagling and kind of, you know, you get a really good sense of using the left alt button to this. I kind of like the eye version of the move brush version better, because A, you get more practice with this, and B, you get to establish a little bit more crevice of the eye socket through here. So please remember, when doing this, this is definitely about utilizing the left alt or left option button. As that's going to be a big deal when it comes to using the move brush here to sculpt and gently smooth away. We may also do one more is kind of... I keep accidentally hitting that. Kind of wondering if I can... It's just left alt, pushing in. Let's go ahead and... I kind of want to do this without the hat now. I'm gonna have to turn that off. Let's go ahead and bring this in. You can kind of see I'm just kind of working through this shape like so. Bring a relax smooth on here. This is just sort of a kind of you taking your time moment. And it's going to come differently for everybody. Let's go ahead and see if we can pinch this in. And there is a pinch brush. It's not one of the ones that I would use completely, but we do have a brush that kind of scrunches things in a little bit. Maybe put a little bit of volume on here. BMV. Let's try volume brush, like brush clay tubes. Brush clay tubes, by the way, is going to be a brush you'll use very often for anatomy. You can kind of see how I use the smooth very carefully to kind of blend it in. Just kind of show a little cheek. And let's do a standard to kind of bring back just a little bit. Just a little bit of thickness. Another thing we can do is we can use the Dame standard brush. Feel free to use that as well for anything you might want to try. Just remember when you sculpt it in to smooth it also out. You can kind of see how I'm kind of working it in. Very subtly, very gently, and then kind of just bringing it very, very much out. Just kind of smoothing it and bringing it back out. If you hold left, Alt and left option, you can also kind of invert the Dame standard as well. This can be nice to create maybe like a fold line on a end of an eyebrow. But be very, very gentle when you're doing it. And make sure you are taking your time. Just take it one stroke at a time. Just simply kind of working it in, moving it out, being very, very light on my Wacom tablet. Okay, so that's how we're going to do the eyes. We may do a little bit more with the eyes down the road, just kind of do little small tweaks, but this is where we're going to leave it for this one. Afterwards, we're going to go ahead and work a little bit more with the mouth and then tweak the mouth to match a little bit more with the eyes. So with that said, we are going to say stick around and stay tuned.